Hey guys, North Provolone here, and pretty much throughout the past week I've been playing a lot of the Fallout franchise. I played the original Fallout, Fallout 3, and Fallout New Vegas all in pretty much 3 days, kind of in no life yet, but I'm just loving it, and pretty much playing through these classic games has made me realize something. Fallout 4 is very lacking, and that's what we're going to go into during this video. So ladies and gentlemen and everyone else, sit down and we're going to look at the faults of Fallout 4. So before we start cheering on the game, let's just look at what the game did right. So let's start with story. The story of Fallout 4 is a pretty decent story. It gives you a decent amount of choice in it, and it has multiple endings, so that's pretty cool. Besides that, I don't really like anything else, so you could have that Fallout 4. You have a decent story. Better than Fallout 3, but when compared to New Vegas or Fallout 1 or 2, it just doesn't stack up, but still, it's a good story. This, in my humble opinion, is one of the biggest faults with the game. The gameplay is way too mainstream. Fallout has always been kind of not really a hardcore game, but it's been a very different game. It's not the generic like Call of Duties or anything like that. It's a very cool and very strange sort of game engine, and I like that part of it. Yeah, the guns are very inaccurate, but it adds some immersion, and it makes you really feel like you're fending for your life. And also, in all other Fallout games, ammo is very scarce. Fallout 4, they gave you way too much ammo. This is probably because they're trying to appeal to a younger audience, and they're probably trying to appeal to these mainstream gamers that only play Call of Duty. But still, they gave way too much ammo. Now, at one point of my playthrough of Fallout 4, I ever felt an urgency of, am I using too much ammo, or should I use more of that? Because they give you way too much. And also, they give you way too many endgame items at the beginning of the game. In the intro of Fallout 4, they give you a minigun and power armor. These are supposed to be endgame items. They're strong weapons, and they're not supposed to be used at the beginning of the game. It kind of just sets off like the flow of the progression system, and that kind of just doesn't make any sense. It's counterintuitive. This is another big flaw with Fallout 4. Its setting is too bland and too colorful. Like, Fallout 3, you had Washington, D.C. It's this big city, and I can remember a lot of it. Even sitting here, I can remember the museum, I can remember the Capitol building, I can remember Riveted City, and all of these little areas. Fallout New Vegas, I remember New Vegas completely. The Mojave Wasteland is, though it might be a little bit bland, it's still a pretty cool little area. But with Fallout 4, the only place I can remember is the Institute and Diamond City. The areas are just bland, and even Diamond City, it's a bland city. Like the Capitol Wasteland in Fallout 3, it's also a big city, but it feels big. It feels like this sort of ruins of this giant civilization that once was there. Fallout 4, you don't really get that. And back to Diamond City, and back to the Boston area in general, I used to live in New England, and it looks nothing like Boston. And maybe they're going off of something in the 50s, but I could see no correlation to that in Boston. And I know they put in these real-life attractions into the Commonwealth, like Diamond City, but like the aesthetic of it just does not look like Boston. I really wish they got that, because Boston's a really cool-looking town, well, city, but I think they could have done like a much better job with that aspect of the map. Another problem I have with Fallout 4 setting is it's way too colorful. With Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, it felt like you were in a wasteland. It felt like there was a nuclear apocalypse. But with Fallout 4, it feels like a normal day. It feels like a normal day in New England. And pretty much, it just, like, I play Fallout kind of be immersed. I'm one of those players. And maybe people have, like, their own opinions and they want it to be more colorful. But I like the more gritty and the more grotesque wasteland of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, instead of like this cutesy, colorful Fallout 4 setting. It doesn't feel like a wasteland. It feels like a normal city or a normal patch of grass. And my final reasoning for why Fallout 4 is such an awful game is just how boring it is. After the main quest is done, there's really nothing left to do. There's a couple of side quests to do with the companions, and there's a DLC quest, but once you're after that, and that's only like 50 hours also, after that, there's really nothing to do. With Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, you had hundreds upon hundreds of hours of side quests, and even if you ran out of side quests, there are so many secrets and so many things to discover and so many weapons to find, you would never run out of things to do. And Fallout 4, Fallout games in general are supposed to be long experiences. Fallout 4 is not a long experience. It's a very inclusive experience. Once you've completed all the main quests and all the side quests, there's really nothing left to do, and that's just a shame. Because Fallout 4, though it does have flaws, maybe it could have had better side quests or some sort of thing to do after that would have fixed the game. But no, just the progression of it's awful, the setting of it's awful, the story's decent but it's still pretty bland. And also another problem I have with the game is there's a lack of enemy variation. It feels like wherever you go you're fighting robots. In Fallout 3 you had mutants, Fallout New Vegas you had robots, you had mutants, you had cowboys, you had all this shit. And it was just really fun to just ponder what else could be in this world. Fallout New Vegas, it's a living, breathing world. Fallout 4, it's a story. It's not a world, it's a story. It's a set-piece story that has you going around shooting people. Sometimes you make decisions, but most decisions just are so obvious and you can easily pick and choose to get the best ending. There's no like gripping decisions like do I do this or do I do that. It's just what faction do you want. And most of the factions, they're all idiotic. There's no positives to them. Like the Brotherhood of Steel, they're pretty much racist. The Synths, they're slave owners. The Railroad, they're pretty okay, but still, yeah, and that's another problem with Fallout 4. Fallout 4, the best faction, the Railroad, has the least enjoyable campaign. And isn't that counterintuitive? The Railroad has a very boring campaign. And this is a problem because you have these pretty decent campaigns like the Brotherhood of Steel and the Institute, and then you just have this flawed campaign as the Railroad. And also, I'm pretty sure I haven't played it in a long time, but oh yeah, the Minutemen. The Minutemen has the most tedious campaign ever, but it's the best ending you could get, actually, in my opinion. And isn't that counterintuitive? Still, the best ending you get is not challenging, it's not difficult, it's tedious. Take for instance Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas, you have a shit ton of factions, but do you know what the thing that's similar with all of them? They're all fun to play. Not one of them is boring, and this is a key part of Fallout New Vegas and why it's such a great game. And this is where Fallout 4 has its main flaw. It is just not fun to play. That was the video, and remember, immersion means all, and without immersion, no game is good.